Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's DKJ here. I hope you guys have been doing fantastic. I'm gonna go ahead and do the Build to Remember event challenge. It's basically just building a childhood memory that's like a room that like we grew up in. I put up all the details that Enjoy posted on their Instagram page because it kind of has everything that I wanted to talk about. So here you can see Keiju pretty much did his room. He said for some like inspiration. When I was little, I shared a room with my sister, surrounded by tools of science, kids from my engineer father. I built rockets and dreamed of becoming an engineer or scientist. It wasn't just a room, it was where my dreams began. Keijun. I want to say, like, when you really look into the picture, it's kind of like some mods and then some other, maybe some downloaded assets as well that people have uploaded to Canvas. So I thought that was cute and inspiring because, when I was growing up, I had a lot of different places that I had lived. It was just my mom. She was a single mother. My dad was incarcerated when I was like, I want to say like two, maybe three. It was intoxication manslaughter. And he, unfortunately killed like, I want to say like three people. It was the mother, a little baby, and I think a little girl. He was really drunk. And that's a whole nother story. But, this event kind of inspires you to like what do you kind of remember as growing up. And it kind of reminds me of like how I kind of got to where I am today. Of course, I'm not like nearly where I want to be, but at least a little bit further where I would have never thought that I would be. And I kind of just want to be grateful about those things. And then of course, here's the participation period. Here is how to participate, an update of when the winner announcement will be. So if you guys want to take a look at that, I will leave the description down below if you guys have Instagram. And then they didn't post it on their Steam page, but if you're on Discord, you can also join the Discord. They have all the details there as well, but pretty much everything is here on their Instagram page. So if you guys want to check it out, I'm going to go ahead and do a speed build, and then I'm just going to kind of like talk over like kind of my childhood was. And yeah, we're just going to go from there. So I will see you guys in the video. Alright, you guys. So I basically built this apartment. This is where I used to live at, well, like growing up during my time of being in high school. So this was a 2-bedroom apartment with 2 restrooms. So this was my mom's room. She had 2 different closets. She had her restroom in there, and then we had like our first room right here, which was mine and my brother's that we shared, and then we had our restroom across. And then in the front, when you came in, we had our living room to the right, and then we had our dining room to the left, and then we had our kitchen. It's kind of like small, and then we had, of course, on the other side of the living room, that was our patio area. But the reason why I'm doing this build is because I had a lot of memories during this time of my life. This is when I was like growing up. This is when me and my brother were bonding a lot. This is a time when, we just had a lot of friends, and my mom was working a lot, and we just really bonded. And then my nieces and nephews were around a lot at the time. And it was just it was just a growing time for us. So during this time, it just really like was engraved in my brain. So me and my brother, we shared a room. We had one bed, so he would sleep on one side, I'd sleep on the opposite side. During the time, like my nieces and nephews were living with us, and they were like small. They were like 3, like 2, and 1, so they're like a year apart. And they would spill a lot of different things. They have crumbs everywhere, and of course the carpet got stained. Even after trying to clean it, kids can be very damaging to things. So they definitely destroyed a lot of different things that we had. But we ended up putting like a rug in there. My brother's side of the room was right here on the right. Mine was more over here on the left side. So I was kind of more by like the closet. So he had his TV. I had my TV because he would play on his side of the room and I play on my side. We would always be playing like different games. I was more like we were playing Xbox at the time. I think it was like the Xbox 360. It was a long time ago, but we were like very involved in our games at the time, and we'd just be playing a lot, and we were always getting games every time they came out. I mean, there was a lot of games coming out at that time. There was like Call of Duty. There was like I think Titanfall was one of the big ones that came out during that time. Some other Halo games. It was just like a really good time, and we would always be playing like with a lot of our friends, and we would just have them over, or like we'd always be at their house, or most of the time everyone was always coming over to our house because our mom would always be at work, but she'd always be like, yeah, that's fine, like she didn't want us to like be bored, so we'd always have our friends over. But my brother was more like the collector type, like clutter guy, so he would always have like his stuff on his side of the room. He always had like boxes of shoes. He always had like his pencils, papers, journals, trophies, whatever you can think of. He had it on his side. Trash can, everything. He was always a very like organized type person. When it came to me, I wasn't really like the collector or type like person like that wanted to keep everything, in my room. But yeah, so like on my side, I again didn't really like collect anything. The only things that I really collected, well, because I like started working at Whataburger at the time, I collected a lot of like foam cups. So it was more of like coming home and bring my work work cups, and I just like stack them and just make like different piles of them, just because like I thought it was cool at the time. I don't know why I did that. I don't know if anyone ever did that, but yeah, it's kind of like one of those weird things. But I ended up throwing that all that stuff away. Like after my friends would be like, "Why you have all this stuff?" But that was probably like the only time. And then yeah, so as you can see, like I was finding different things like on Canvas or like what people uploaded. It was just adding them to the room. I know it's like kind of like copyright, but obviously you won't be able to see it whenever I do my screenshot or like add it to the video. But yeah, this is just such a good time in my life, and it just from having to remember like my mom was the only one that was like providing for us and like giving us everything that we wanted. When I started working at this time, I was actually just like I hated high school, and yeah, it's not that I had a bad high school grow up. It's just that I just wanted to grow up, and I was ready to just like start providing for myself. That like I was just tired of not having things that everyone else had because their parents would buy it for them. I was just like ready to just buy everything I wanted. So I wanted to own my own everything. I just wanted to be grown up and just be like better than everyone else, not like in a bad way. I was just tired of just like the struggle basically that we were in because of my mom and things like that. But obviously she did the best that she could. So I mean, I couldn't have asked for like a better parent. And it was difficult for her raising four of us and all the grandkids that she wasn't expecting to have so soon. But she did the best that she could, and I'm so grateful for it because now today I am the person that I am because of her. And I'm so grateful at the time when I turned 16, my uncle gave me a job, and everything was everything was okay. But yeah, this was the time in my childhood where me and my brother also like when we were bonding a lot. He was a big skater. He was like kind of looking up to me because like man, he saw me working and going to school, and I ended up like graduating a little bit earlier, and I was like the first one to like move out. Well, like from me and my brother because we were the youngest, and I still don't have kids to this day. He actually has his first baby girl, but at the time it was everything was like a lot different. But it was just such a good time in our life, and I really do miss it. My brother, he collected a lot of like shoes, so he was like such a shoe type guy. I didn't really care as much for like that stuff. I mostly just wanted more money and just like the the latest games that came out. But I was always trying to get like the latest Apple stuff. I was always trying to get like the latest gadgets. That was just me at the time. I don't know why. But yeah, I like stuff like that. He was always just like skater. He wanted skateboards, shoes, different things like that. Um, One of the things too, like when we were like in high school, obviously we were trying to like find ourselves. So, like my brother went through like the emo stage, the skater. Me, I kind of went through like that. I want to say like not so emo, but it wasn't like so preppy. I mean, I was more like a preppy type dude, but I wasn't like crazy preppy. I was just kind of like average, like in the middle. So I was just like kind of in every group. During this time too, my brother was like obsessed with like a lot of like rock songs and things like that, and I was too. Obviously, like our old like bands, like what can what can I think of some? Uh, was it like 3 days great or no 3 doors down? He's like 3 doors down. He's like asking Alexandria. So like our music was growing. It was growing taste at the time. I'll say that. So he wanted like the guitar and wanted to be like a drummer and all that. And I was just like wanting to learn piano. Obviously, we didn't get to learn that stuff. My mom ended up buying him a guitar because I was working. My mom didn't have to buy me as much like she used to, but she was still spoiling my brother. And then I wanted to like kind of like work out and look good for people and stuff like that. So yeah, it was just a really good time. But this is pretty much our whole room, so I hope you guys have pretty much enjoyed this. And then we had a lot of posters again. I can't add them for like copyright, but that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and yeah, hopefully I will see you guys' builds, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.